Hello, this is Courtney with Ginger Knots, and I wanted to show you how to crochet from the absolute beginning. So for those of you who have never picked up a hook before or any yarn, this video is for you. So we are going to learn three main things today. First, how to tie a slip knot. Second, how to do chain stitches. Then we're also going to learn how to do a couple of rows of back and forth single crochet. So what I'm using is a pretty thick yarn because I want you to be able to see the stitches very well. This is called Wool Ease Thick and Quick. It is by Lion Brand. It is a size 6 yarn. So a lot of times I work with a size 4 yarn, which is quite a bit smaller. So this one is one of the bigger ones, and it is great because it works up really quickly. The size of hook I'm using is a 11.5 millimeter P hook. So that is a great hook size to use with this particular yarn. If I was using a thinner yarn, I would definitely want to use a smaller hook. So firstly, we are going to learn how to tie a slip knot. So what you'll want to do is take your crochet end. You can use the one that's on the outside of the ball or the one that's on the inside, and you're going to just fold it back on itself and hold that yarn, pinch that between your left hand's thumb and forefinger, and then the long end is going to go through your hand. You're going to twist this so the long end goes on top, and then your right hand is going to reach through the circle and it's going to grab the long end while you still got a hold of that short end there. And just pull it right through there. There are a lot of ways to tie a slip knot, so that is just one of the ways that I do it when I am teaching. So you'll go ahead and put your hook through that circle and pull it tight. So the next thing, well, I should have said this in the beginning, we're going to learn how to control our tension while we're crocheting. So that is extremely important. Your stitches can be very loose or they can be too tight, but what you want to do is find some level of consistency. And there is no right or wrong way to hold your yarn or your hook. So this is just the way that I do it. It's the way I teach it. However, many of my students have found their own method after I have tried to teach them this way. So whatever works best for you. So what I like to do is go over, under on my fingers on my left hand. So over my pointer, under my middle, over, and then under. So I will get that yarn down at the base of my hand. And then from there, what you want to do is you want to pinch the knot that's on your hook with your thumb and your middle finger of your left hand. If you were a lefty, so you would just flip this video and do all of this with your right hand. Your pointer finger you want to keep nice and straight. I call it my fancy finger so that you can make sure you keep some tension on this. This shouldn't be super, super tight, but it can't be all loose. That's how you control how big or loose your stitches are. So from there, we're going to learn how to chain. So that is next. You want to squeeze this knot right here. You're going to turn your hook up so that the nose of your hook is pointed towards the sky, and you're going to put it down underneath your guitar string yarn. That's your working yarn. Loop it over. Go ahead and turn your nose down, and what you'll notice I'm doing with this hand is I'm going to pull down on that knot to make some room for my nose to go through. And it pulls nice and through there. So then you'll turn back up. That is one chain stitch. So then I'm going to, as my chain gets longer, you can slide this pinch along so it's nice and close to your hook. So we're going to do another one. You're going to go down in front, grab your yarn, turn your nose down, pull down on that yarn, and pull it through the loop on your hook. So now we've got 2 chain stitches, and you'll start to see that they, from the front, they're going to look all the same. So there's also multiple ways to chain. This is the way that I do it. If you do it a different way, that is just fine, but you'll want to make sure you do it the same way every single time you do a chain so that your foundation chain has some uniformity and it looks the same. Because otherwise, if you do throw in a different way of doing it, let's say I grab it from behind, that stitch is going to look a little different than the rest. So we don't want to do that. I'm going to back that one up because I like to do it all the same way. I'm going to go down in front, turn my nose down, and go through. So now we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains on our foundation row here. We are going to go and work back along this for the next part of the video, which is a single crochet. So this is probably the next level of difficulty of stitch. So you can see we've got a bunch of little V's along our chains. Each one of those is an individual chain, and then we've got the loop that's on our hook. You'll see if you ever follow a pattern, it's going to tell you which chain you're going to work into. So this is the first chain from your hook. You're not going to work into that one because it won't work. You're going to skip this very first section here, and you're going to find that line. See how there's a line on the top of each one of your chains. That's what I'm going to have you work under. So we're going to take our hook and poke it through that hole right there. My nose is down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guitar string yarn and I'm going to put it under the nose. When I teach classes, I call that grabbing your buddy. So I say, put your hook through the hole and grab your buddy. Pull him back through the hole. You're rescuing him. Pull up a loop. So you've got 2 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over so your nose is staying up. You're going to lay that yarn across. Just like you chained, turn it down and pull through both of those loops on your hook. That is a single crochet stitch. So we're going to do one of those in each of the chains that we did in the beginning. So you can see there's a line right here. That's the line that we just worked into. You can tell because it's kind of pulled out, it's looser, it's stretched. That means we've already worked it. So then we're going to work into this next guy right here. So here's that next chain space. Insert your hook nose down, grab your buddy, pull him back through the loop and pull up. Yarn over again and pull through there. So now we've got 2 single crochets. And we're going to work this one into the next. I have too much tension. See, it's hard for me to pull through there because my guitar string was too tight because my yarn is all falling off my table. And then we're going to work into this last space. Here's our knot that we tied, our slip knot. So we're going to work into this last space. As you can tell, we had 5 initial chains, and now we have worked only 4. That's because we had to skip one here at the beginning. So we have 4 single crochets along our first row. Now I'm going to work single crochets again, but we're going to work back along the top of the stitches we just did so that we start moving this way. And this is a technique you can use to make a scarf, a pillow, a blanket. However long you want to chain that start is how wide it's going to be. So we made a nice little stubby one, so we're not going to be able to make much with this other than a little square. So next, to make that row, we first have to chain up 1. So you're going to yarn over, turn your hook down, slide it through the loop on your hook, and pull up. And then we're going to turn to the back of our work. So here, sometimes it can look like a big old mess, especially when you're beginning, and it's a bit hard to tell where to go. So then you'll want to look on the top of those stitches. You can see up here, just kind of similar to the chains, we've got our little V's up here. That's what we want to work into. That's the front loop and the back loop of our stitch. So underneath both of those, we're going to insert our hook, nose down, grab your buddy, pull them back through there and up a loop, then yarn over and through both loops on the hook. So now we have done 1 single crochet into the second row. Here we go with the second one. Here's stitch number 2. Grab your buddy, pull them through and up, yarn over, and pull through both loops on your hook. That's 2. Here's stitch number 3. And lastly, stitch number 4. This one kind of looks a little bit different because it's where we turned. So we're still going to work into both of those lines. There's both lines right there. You're going to pull them both up, insert your hook, grab your buddy, pull up a loop, and pull through both loops on your hook. So now we've got 2 rows of single crochets. We're just going to continue to repeat that. Chain 1, turn your work, and then work back into those stitches on the top. And you can do that as long as you would like. So here we go. We're going to do our 3rd row so that you can see how the sides and edges will all look. and that yours should have the same number of stitches each row. If you find that you're having more or you're having less, it might mean that if you have more, you might just be putting too many stitches in one place. I could put another stitch right in this same space, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have more stitches and have it grow. And I want to make sure I don't skip the next one, or I would have less stitches and it would shrink. So here we're going to make sure we put a stitch, one stitch in each single, or each top of our last row single crochets. There we go. And so now you can see it's kind of starting to make a square. Your sides should continue along that path. And you have learned how to do a slip knot, single crochets, turn your work, and of course our foundation chain down here. Please feel free to hit subscribe. I will be doing many more tutorials on how to crochet. We're going to learn more complicated stitches, and sometimes eventually we're going to learn how to cross our stitches in cable and do all kinds of different great things. Follow me over on Instagram, and I've got lots of patterns available there for free on my blog, gingerknots.com. Thanks so much.